Okay, I'd like to start the Board of Library Trustees meeting for April 27th, 2021 at 6:45 p.m. Has everyone had a chance to read over the minutes from the last meeting?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Everyone? Okay. Would someone like to make a motion to accept the minutes?
This is Diana. I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
I'll
Okay,
second it.
and is there any discussion?
Yes, I have some, Linda.
Okay, Linda.
There's one maybe typo. Let me find it. Excuse me. I should have marked it. Under update on library services during COVID-19.
Yes,
The third bullet. When appointments are eliminated, the quarantine of returned materials will go from 2 days from 2 days.
Yeah.
oh,
Okay, so it should be will go from 3 days to 2 days, or will go to 2 days from 3 days, right?
2 days, yeah, okay.
okay.
Yeah, I can change it.
Okay, that's my
Does
only.
anyone have anything else? Okay, I'll do a roll call. Teresa,
Yes.
Pam? Pam?
You're on mute, Pam.
I know, I'm having issues. I'm sorry. Yep, I'm here.
Diana?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes,
Karine, aye. All in favor. Thank you.
So moving on to director's report. For statistics, just a few things. So checkouts of print materials are the highest they've been since before the pandemic, which is great. Statistics for tumble books are still quite low. They've been for a little while. We're planning to do a promotional push. Actually, I think Julie already did one promotional push and trying to do a few more coming up just to kind of help boost awareness again and usage of the resource. And then checking back in with mobile hotspots we talked about before. What I'm seeing is it's suggesting that what we have currently is sufficient to meet the demand. So those are a few things about statistics. Are there any questions?
can I make one comment?
Sure.
I do know in the past, sometimes you have sent articles about the various programs, including the mobile hotspots to the Express.
Mhm.
If this isn't going, could you make sure that's going to be done? Because not everyone is online, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, just. You may be already planning to do that, but I just thought I'd mention it while we were discussing it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Moving on to financial update. We actually have met our materials expenditure requirement for the year, even though technically they're not holding people to that since due to COVID, but because we got some money from Plymouth County through COVID funds. So we're able to buy quite a few ebooks with some of that. We haven't used it all up yet, but we've spent some money, the COVID money on ebooks. So we've actually met our materials expenditure, which is good because now we can actually use those extra funds that in our budget for other things that we need. And so actually talking about expenses, so we've actually only spent about 65%, even though we're about 75% of the way through the fiscal year. But coming up in later, I'm going to talk about a few things that I'd like to, that we're going to need to use the money for. So I'll be discussing that coming up. And then finally, we received our second and final state aid payment in just over $8,800. So the total state aid for FY21 is $17,675.17. And actually, that's quite a bit higher than what we've had in previous years. I guess through the state budget, there was some extra funds that went to state aid program. So most libraries received extra than what they've received in the past, which is good too. Are there any questions about that? Okay. Moving on to programming. So we had 8 programs in March. Total attendance was 275, and each of the programs did very well. Attendance was high through for all of them, no less than 15 participants in each of them. We had some craft themes with St. Patrick's Day and Easter. We had some great photos too of completed crafts we put on social media. Marches in the Middle Book Club featured a guest host, and they had participants do microwave mug cakes. And we're finding that we actually, in previous sessions, we've done some crafts, sort of like some hands-on things, and we're finding that that's really drawing kids in. So we're going to try to continue that, have a sort of an interactive component to that program going forward if we do continue to do virtual. And then we also received some positive feedback, as we've discussed, for the Taste of Irish Cooking, and then for other adult March program, which was the wreath craft. So that's great too. And then I just listed some of the upcoming programs that we have, or things that we've already had in April, which we'll talk more about in the next meeting. And then some things coming up in May. So in May, we have another Chef Rob virtual May Food Festival. May 4th is Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. So we're doing a Star Wars themed craft. And of course, Mother's Day is in May. So we have a craft for that as well. And then we're also going to be partnering with Plymouth County 4-H for one of the upcoming in the Middle Book Clubs. So we're promoting some of their virtual programs that we think maybe our patrons would be interested in. Some things, a lot of the gardening ones that they're doing in April, and then actually into May as well. And then just want to also talk at this point too a little bit about Waitlists. I think I don't know if I ever talked to Linda about this. I think we are trying to limit the number of people who are on wait lists. Just a couple of stats from what I looked back at from January, February, March, and April programs. So we had probably about 50 people over the last 4 months that were on wait lists and that we weren't able to accommodate. There were some of the take and make crafts, a couple of the teen book boxes, which for that, we had been doing 15 as a max, and we've upped it to 20 going forward. And then some of the Hygge at Home, the wreath and the tassel programs had some wait lists. For some of those, we aren't able to accommodate because a couple of those were local people who came to us and said, can we do this program? And they actually had already had set kits that they'd done, and we couldn't get any more. So unfortunately, we weren't able to add additional slots to those programs. But we are, like I said, we are trying to, going forward, do our best to accommodate people because we know that they're so popular, like the take and make crafts and the DIY ones. So we hope that we can, as I said, with the teen book boxes, we're able to increase. So some of them, any of the ones that we can, we try to do that. Does anybody have any questions about any of that?
I would like to just comment if I could. Diana, did you want to say something first?
No, I think it's great. I think just the level of participation and the creativity of what the library is putting out for the opportunities is just wonderful. So thank you.
I was just going to applaud Karen and her staff for the wonderful activities, the wide variety, and the fact that you're able to publicize it and get such a great response from participants and the public, and doing a terrific job, and congratulate you and appreciate it all.
Thank you. Just one other point too about the building and grounds. The last thing on the director's report.
Thank
so
you
we
all.
did have some.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
thank you also for keep checking out my question on the wait list. I think that's
no problem.
to be aware of, and I appreciate it. It looks like Kareem would have something.
Oh,
Yeah, I just wanted to say I agree with Linda and Diana, and I know I've said that to yourself, Karen, that, I mean, yourself and the staff have gone above and beyond. And I hear from patrons occasionally, and everyone seems to be very happy.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. So for building and grounds, so we did have some cabling for the new phone system was installed in late March. So that has gotten started on, and I am going to be checking in with the project manager next week for a status update. I haven't heard anything since they've put that cabling in, so I'm going to be checking in with him again about it. And then we are actually going to be having some of the National Honor Society students come this Saturday. They're going to be helping clean up around building. So we really appreciate their help with that. There's about 10 of them coming, I think. So that'd be good.
Great.
Are there any questions?
I'm just curious, is the project manager, who is the project manager? Is it from the phone company or the town?
Yes, from the phone company. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's see, we can move on to update on services during COVID. So a few things, just some stats. So we had 475 pickups in March and 310 appointments. As you know, on April 5th, we switched to open doors from our appointments that we've been doing before. Of course, we are still limiting the number of people in the building. We haven't really seen any difference in the number of people at any one time from when we were doing appointments. So it's, you know, it's working out pretty well. It's just very much more convenient for patrons and staff. We actually still are quarantining 3 days right now, even though I said we were going to switch to 2, as we mentioned in the minutes earlier. We are still doing 3. That's kind of just what I'm seeing. A lot of people kind of staying there. It's, you know, it's a reasonable amount of time. It's not too much longer of a wait for than if you switch to 2 days. So we're still doing 3 days right now.
Quarantining the books.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Sales directors have agreed to start changing some backs and policies that we had changed from that have been changed due to COVID. So like the amount of time that people have to get a permanent card, if they have a virtual card, you know, e-card, that was, we had upped it to 2 months and now it's back to 3 weeks. And then some of the schedule, the reports like lost items and things like that that we do have kind of gone back to normal. Hanson's status is currently yellow, went down from red to yellow, which is good. And then, so I kind of see us now as sort of holding in this pattern for a little bit, and kind of just keeping things the way they are for a while, until maybe we get back down to green, and then we can kind of see what happens then. I also just want to mention too, at this point, we talked about in-person meetings, about doing that. So if we, you know, if we are going to be doing some sort of a hybrid where some people are going to be coming in, you know, some of the board is going to come in and some are going to be virtual, I just have to figure out how we can make that work with the technology. Because obviously right now everybody has their own device and, you know, we're all on Zoom. So if some people were in person, trying to get that so everybody could see each other and you know, have it not be really awkward. I just have to kind of figure out. I know that there are some with the cable, actually, local cable, they have some resources. So I'm going to look into that. But, you know, I don't know if anybody wanted to mention if they were comfortable coming in. I know, Corinne, you mentioned that you were.
Right.
If anybody had any additional thoughts on that.
I'll be vaccinated next month. My next one. I just got my first one. So I think after that I would be.
Okay.
I'd be fine. I got my second shot yesterday, so I would be fine coming in.
And
I'd be fine. I'd be fine coming in too.
okay.
To me, I don't see a huge advantage of meeting in person if we're going to have to be distanced and wearing masks.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we can.
That's true too. I would agree with that. If I get to see your faces and we can communicate this way, it's just.
Yeah, this does work pretty well. So, okay, yeah. So we can, you know, we can revisit it going forward, but it's good to kind of.
Along those lines, could I ask a question that is related indirectly? I know you said a lot of the summer program will be programming for the youth will be outside and all, but eventually we may be having it in the green and able to hold some in-house programs. And it seems nothing in terms of our building projects and all happens quickly. So I'm trying to think ahead to that time positively, but I want to be prepared and have the library prepared for that time. And as I understand it, a critical element of being safe indoors, I don't know when children will be vaccinated or whatever, there's still a lot of unknowns, but the air circulation is a critical component, I believe. And I know at one point the Board of Health said they thought it was fine, but is the air circulation something we would want to have professionally evaluated perhaps?
We did like several, I don't know how, it's been a while now, several years ago, we did have a company come in and do that. I don't remember. I mean, I think it was within acceptable levels. I know though, some of the staff have mentioned that, you know, they feel like it is, like sometimes we open the back door here and, you know, just to get some fresh air in, and we actually have little window things we can open that we sometimes do that. We've been trying to keep some of those open around the building on either side. But yeah, it is, I mean, it just the way it feels, I don't know if technically it is, but the way it feels is sometimes it does feel kind of like there's not a lot of circulation. So that would definitely be something we'd have to think about.
I'm correct in saying none of the windows in the library itself open.
Well, they have like a little piece at the bottom that you can kind of flip open, but it's
Okay,
completely like
all right.
big,
Well,
the window.
maybe
So, and even though it's wide,
it's not a lot.
it's not a lot, right? Yeah.
Maybe you could,
Now, you have ceiling fans as well.
We do, yeah, we do have the ceiling fans.
Are those variable speed?
No,
Okay.
the other thing, they have to be adjusted for, you know, cooling.
hmm
But they also have to be kept clean.
yeah.
Maybe you could talk to the town administrator
hmm
and
Yeah.
see what they're doing over there.
Yeah, and I'll look back at that report too. Like I said, it was a
Okay.
while ago, but I'll just check and see what
Yeah.
what that
Maybe
said.
check the date for us, of course, if you're looking at it. And
I'm sorry, what was that?
obviously, if you look at it, you'll know the date too. If it was
Yeah.
a while ago, maybe it's time to redo.
Yeah, and I mean, the ceiling fans do help quite a bit to circulate the air. Is it possible we could get a couple of oscillating fans that are on a stand? I don't know if you'd want to do that.
Yeah, I can see what our options are. Like you said, maybe
Okay.
check with town hall and see what if other town buildings have done anything.
Okay, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any other? That's all I had for that section. Any other questions? Okay. So an update, moving on to siding, an update on that. I did meet with John Stanbrook, the town administrator, and Bob Curran, who, well, he was the building inspector. I met with him on April 8th. Bob said he was going to contact the individual who originally had outlined the details of the project for us. That was back in, I think, 2019 now. I haven't heard anything, and I know Bob did just retire last week, and I don't know if you probably have heard that John is actually leaving June 1st.
Yes.
So I know they are moving quickly, hiring a replacement for Bob, and I know they've already hired Lisa Green as an interim town administrator. So at the earliest opportunity, I'm going to try to meet with them about this. The cost so far, right now we have about 31,000 left in that budget line. And when I was talking to John and Bob, they said that the nature of the project is it's likely that we're going to require 3 bids from what they are, feel like the cost might be, and that we're going to have to use prevailing wage. Bob was discussing about how construction, labor, and materials are the cost of those is
Have gone way up,
right now.
way up.
Yeah, and that a lot of contractors are busy with other work. So there is a concern that the amount of funds that we currently have would not be sufficient for the project. I was asked about the Bruno money, and I did, if we would consider using some of that to supplement. I explained that it's the foundation is managing that, so I wasn't sure. And with the town's financial difficulties coming up, like I said, there's a concern that we wouldn't be able to fund this. So, but I'm going to discuss it with Lisa and maybe John if he's still here, because I know they're working together. And then the new hire for the building inspector, like I said, the earliest opportunity to see what we can do about that. So it's just an update on that. Are there any questions?
I can give my opinion on using Bruno's estate money if you wanted.
Sure, yeah.
I would definitely be against it.
Mhm.
It's not
Yeah, I
the
agree.
intent of what it was given to us for repair of a building, and
Yeah.
any other repair would come under emergency use.
Mhm.
if it weren't able to be funded within a line item.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with Linda too. And I mean, not that we can go back in time, but I'm disappointed. This should have been taken care of in 2019, and
Mhm.
I don't want to say anymore.
So like I said, I'll try to, get working on that and see what we can do about it. Like you said, it definitely needs to get done.
Right. But we appreciate it, Karen.
Thank
And
you.
it's no reflection on you, I would say, Karen.
No,
I've
absolutely
tried.
It's
not.
just been like a lot of circumstances, external
Right.
circumstances that we didn't really
Yeah.
have control over, but.
Right. No, it has nothing to do with you.
Okay, moving on to new business. So I want to talk a little bit about the budget cuts that are potential budget cuts, and the impact on the library. So I did post an impact statement. I don't know if you've seen it on Facebook, and I did attend, and Queen did as well, the forum that the town had on the 20th, I think it was, at the high school. So, I have done some preliminary, actually, so let me start off with that we were told that we would need to cut $23,500 from our budget, what I had submitted for FY22. And as was mentioned at the forum, most of the departments in town, their expense lines are pretty slim as it is, and we're no exception. Most of our expenses are things we can't really change, like utilities, building repair, we have to, budget for that. The cost of our membership on our network, the sales. So we don't really have a lot of leeway with that to cut that. So it would really come out of our personnel, the staff, the salary line. So we would be looking at some cuts to staff, as all departments would have that.
Karen, can you say again how much would be cut?
It's 23,500 is what we were told to.
So if the override doesn't pass, that's an automatic?
Yes.
Yeah. Mhm.
So I was looking at, how, cutting staff. Some of the things I took into account were, trying not to have staff go below a benefit level. I was going to try to keep everybody, just maybe reduce hours and, not have to eliminate somebody completely. And then obviously staff schedules, because as you know, we're already down 15 hours from cuts from 2010. So we're already running at kind of bare minimum. So any further reduction in staffing, we're going to have to probably close for some of our operating hours. So like looking at staff schedules, and I'm trying to figure that out. So I did come up with a preliminary, outline of what we might have to do. So it would reduce some of the staff, probably about 12 hours total, and then close maybe 4 hours a week. Obviously, state aid is our main concern. So, we want to be able to meet the requirements for that. Right now, we have 4 hours. If we cut 4 hours, we can still meet. We need to have about 40 hours to qualify for state aid. And right now, we're open 44 hours. So we could cut 4 hours safely. One of the other requirements is the municipal appropriation requirement for state aid. This would put us below that level, so we would not meet that. However, there is a waiver process. I spoke with somebody at the MBLC about this, and she said that if we don't meet that, which is called the MAR, municipal appropriation requirement, and we apply for a waiver, we're likely to get it as long as the cuts to us are not considered disproportionate. So the board decides there's a whole worksheet that the town accountant would have to fill out. And as long as the cut's not disproportionate, then we probably would qualify for a waiver. I don't know all the math of the worksheet, how they figured that out. Like I said, the accountant would probably have to fill it out. So there is a chance, though, that we would not qualify, as I said, if it was disproportionate. So those are kind of some of the concerns. And I don't know if Corinne wanted to jump in with what she got out of the forum, but And then we can
Well-
talk about what questions you have.
Yeah, I mean, Karen did a great job. And she talked about, losing the state aid. Later on, I spoke, I spoke in reference to a few different departments, mainly because I'd like 911 to show up when I have to call. But they're all well aware of the library, but it's really up to the citizens of the town now to decide if they will vote for the override or not. I mean, there's, at this point, we've done everything we can. Karen has spoken at the forum, probably will speak at town meeting, which is next Monday, May 3rd. If any of you are able to join us, it would be greatly appreciated. And if I have to get up again, I will get up. I mean, the override, it's on the ballot. That's already decided, but people will still have some kind of discussion come the town meeting. But, I'm sure all of you are in agreement. We don't want to cut hours. We don't want to have to cut help. And I mentioned that my concern was, with the cuts at the schools, that can affect the library as well, because more people will depend on the library. And with a cut in staff and shorter hours, that just gives Karen and her staff more pressure. I think that superintendent may have not misunderstood what I said, because he said, ma'am, the library has already been cut in, the town, but I think he just misunderstood what I said. So, I mean,
Yeah, so
there isn't anything else more we can do.
Can I ask, Karen, you said you posted something. Where did you post it?
on Facebook, and it's actually on the website. There's a link on our website.
Yeah, when you open up the website, it's right there.
I'm just looking on Facebook. Do you remember when you did it? Because I don't see it.
It was a little while ago.
Yeah, it was a little while, so it might be easy to go to the website. There's a link at the top.
HansonLibrary.org.
I found it.
Oh, okay.
So
my
another
people-
thing to wonder is if the foundation page wants to link this to the foundation, it might reach more people. And so
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll do that now.
Yeah, I think that would be a great idea, because I've been sharing a good portion of the posts to the different Hanson networks. I had a little negative publicity from one person, but I don't respond. Everyone's entitled to opinions. But and I've noticed that the likes on both the foundation site and the library site are going up. Like,
Yeah,
David,
I've noticed that too.
have
Yeah.
you? And I don't know if that has to do with us sharing everything, more on a more regular basis, or it just so happens that we've become very popular. But I know that even my circle of friends who don't even live in this town share all the library sites with their friends. Everything from Hanson, I should say. They probably do for other libraries as well. And so that just brings more attention, which is what we need. And just like I said, hopefully every household situation is different. It's for them to decide how they will vote.
Does anybody have any other comments or questions?
Well, I would like to thank Teresa while we're talking about the foundation's website for her work on that. I think it's invaluable. Are you able to share who mentioned the Bruno estate bequest?
It was at the meeting. Bob asked about it at the meeting that I had with him. Bob Curran, yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
He asked what?
About the Bruno money.
I'm surprised like he was aware of it, but that's okay. Doesn't matter. I was just curious. And
Well,
then,
it was in the newspaper, Linda, remember?
I know.
Oh.
But people have short-term memories a lot of times. I don't know, whatever. And then I think hopefully we won't have to go your route of what you have proposed. You need to be prepared, I know, but I think it makes a lot of sense. And you didn't mention this, but I'm sure from what you proposed, it's in your mind. We don't want to cut so that someone would have unemployment benefits have to kick in. That
Yeah,
would be,
I mean, I know the town, they said that they have planned for that, so, you know, if, but yeah,
but your plan would avoid that, and I think
Yeah.
it's good. Thank you.
okay. See, moving on to, so, all right, next is request to approve video pipe inspection and new toilet. So, we've had some issues with one of the toilets, and we've had over the past few months, we've had to have a company come out a couple times. So they actually told me that they do a video pipe inspection. And as you know, I mean, the septic in this building is original, I believe, to the building. So it's probably like, it was 30 years old. So I wanted to have them come in and do the video pipe inspection to kind of see if there's any issues, you know, what could be causing these issues. And then at the same time, the toilet in question is actually has a crack in the bottom. And one time when they were here, they showed it to me. It was before they even started working. So they showed it to me and they said that, we can put it back in probably, but you're probably going to want to replace the toilet soon at some point. So I want to request up to $1,600 to pay for the inspection and the new toilet. I don't think it's actually going to cost that much. I'm just kind of putting in a little bit of buffer in case they need to do a couple other, go through a couple other different access points. But I want to request up to $1,600 for that.
And that includes the installation of the toilet, not just buying it.
Yeah, the cost of the toilet, the installation, and the inspection.
So
Okay.
moved.
I'll
Second.
second it. Okay, Teresa,
Can I have discussion?
sure, Linda.
Question, the video pipe inspection, does that inspect the whole septic or? what?
So they said they go through one access point. I asked them about this because obviously we have several toilets, but they go through one access point, or they can go through multiple, but at first they try one and they kind of, it would go down pretty far. So yeah, I'm sure it would go all the way down till if they saw any sort of issues and all the way down to the septic.
I would like them to do a complete inspection if possible. I know at one point, septic system was on the capital improvement.
Yes, it
list
is.
because of its age, and I believe it might have been moved so that it is 30 years old, and I think it should be assessed before we have additional problems. And if we're doing the video pipe inspection, if we can have as thorough a job as possible, then I think that would be wise.
But do we know how much more that would cost to go?
Yeah.
Because then you're talking doing it from including the senior center as well, correct?
Yeah. I mean, I think there
Because
are
this is
actually
the staff room you're talking about
it's
right
a
now.
bathroom, and then I think all the public toilets, they actually don't have, like, you can't take the toilet off in the same way. It's a different system. I think the only other toilet you can take off is in the handicap senior center toilet.
Okay.
So it might just actually be 2 spots that they would go down. So
But
that,
then you also have the kitchen drains.
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Those are
I
additional.
mean, we really haven't had a problem with those. It's mostly the toilet. So,
Yeah.
but the 1,600 would cover going in through 2 access points. That's why I put that buffer in case they had to do that.
Do you have injector pumps downstairs underneath the library?
Not that I
The
know of.
basement? Oh, you wouldn't be able to miss them, so,
Okay, no, then yeah.
okay. So do we want to wait to see how much more expensive that would be?
Well, like I said, I think the way they described it is they usually do one. Even if they did the 2, the 1,600 would still cover it. I mean, we could up it to like
Okay.
2,000. Do you want to do that? Up it
I
to
think we
2,000?
should up it, so that we'll be aware. Yeah, it's better to ask.
I
have a
would
little
like it
more.
done, excuse me. I'd like it done thoroughly, so I'll amend my motion to go to $2,500 so they can actually see down into the septic system itself, the status, and give us an evaluation.
I'll second that. Okay, Teresa, roll call. Linda,
Yes,
Diana,
Yes,
Pam, can you hear us?
Yes.
Corinne, aye, all in favor. Thank you.
Okay. And then next is, so I also would like to request approval for landscaping. So we usually do this, this time of year. I actually, let me also mention too, that I did hear from Ed Sheehan about the tree out front that wasn't doing well. He did take a look at it and said that it was dead and it would not come back. So he has purchased he looked around and they did find a tree as a replacement. We are gonna be charged the cost of the tree, but the labor is gonna be free. And they're actually, last time I spoke to them, they were working on their schedule, so they're gonna get back to me when they can do that. So that should be in the next month or two, that they're gonna be taking care of that. So, but for the cost of the tree plus the additional landscaping that we usually do, I want to request up to 3,000 to have that taken care of.
so moved.
I'll second it. Roll call, Diana.
can I have
Any
discussion again?
discussion?
Oh, I'm sorry, Linda, discussion.
Oh, okay. Can we, someone contact Ed Sheehan and see if he can move up the timing on our replacement? It's going to be more difficult keeping a new tree watered as the year progresses into the summer.
Yeah, I can.
Seems like-
I don't know that that's fair when he's doing it for free to push him on his schedule.
Well, he didn't, I mean, I just said, I assume a couple months, I think
Ed
last
is
time I
going
spoke
to fit it in as soon as he can. That's
Right,
Just 2
and
weeks.
also, last time when I was going there watering for a couple of weeks before Brian said he would take over, Ed even said to Karen and I'll take care of checking it every day, so not to worry about it. So when he's come by during the year to look at the trees to see how they're doing himself, so I think we really have to go on his schedule.
Well, I don't think it would hurt to ask, but it sounds like I'm in the minority.
Well, actually, I just checked, actually, when I spoke to them, it was the 20th. They emailed me on the 20th. So that was only just last week. And they said they're working on the schedule and they'll be in touch soon. So
Okay.
I assume it would be with like probably even less than a month.
Oh, okay.
I
I
would-
got the impression from you
Yeah.
that it's going to be longer.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I would think so too, and if I have to come water it, I'll water it again. So the tree will be taken care of, so we don't lose it.
Okay.
So, Tim, you said aye?
Yes, aye.
Okay, Diana did too, Teresa did, and Linda?
Yes.
Corinne, yes, all in favor. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. So we talked last time about policies that I was going to try to get on a schedule again of updating, creating new policies that we need and updating existing ones. So I did come up with a sheet that you should all have, I sent you. And this is just suggested or a draft of some of the policies I think we should have, and then maybe an idea of kind of when we would like to work on them. So I actually do already have a draft of a purchasing policy, minimum staffing, reciprocal borrowing, which is basically like the certified library policy, and then a safe child policy. So, I don't know if you're comfortable, but some of the first three that I mentioned are actually pretty short. They're only about like half a page. If you're comfortable kind of doing them all in one meeting in May, maybe the next meeting, and then, I know you usually approve in the next one after that. So that'd be May and June. And then doing the safe child policy in June and August. And then kind of from there, that will give me some time to get what I had planned for the rest of 2021 for the emergency closing, privacy, and volunteer policies. And then as you take a look at the other list, I don't know if anybody wanted to jump in and see if you think things should be moved around or if there's anything that you think is missing.
So at the main meeting, I'd like to include the safe child policy. I mean, summer is coming up.
Okay.
Um,
I mean, that's longer, a little longer, but.
right, and you
but
said the others were
the others are
shorter.
like about half a page, maybe.
Yeah, so I don't think it would, I mean, we've had policies in place, you know, they may be dated, but I find it hard to believe that they would be changing to the extreme.
Mm.
Am I correct in saying
Well, so
that?
some of them, yeah, I put a column there for some of them, some of the policies I found. And they maybe like the first one, the purchasing one, we have a kind of a similar thing, but we didn't have there was no date on it, so I don't even know if
Okay.
it's in effect or not.
Okay,
Some other ones were like the most recent date I could find. I wasn't sure if that was an
that's fine.
draft.
Yeah, but I guess I'm just going with the first four, and I'd like to address the child policy, safe child policy, next meeting in May, so that we can vote on it in June, whereas we have a lot of summer programs going on.
Well, Karen, is there a reason that you have listed these in the order that you have? You know, knowing that we have the override piece coming up, that the minimum staffing policy may be critical. I don't know with the reciprocal borrowing policy, how that could be impacted as well. So is there a reason you chose the order that you did?
Well, just these ones I'd already done before. I already had drafts of them, those first ones. So that's why I figured we might as well, if we already have a draft, might as well just do them now at first. And then the other ones, I don't have a draft completed. You know, I have already kind of started working on the emergency closings. We already had from 2006, but then I kind of just went through and figured out what I thought was the most important after that. So, but I'm open to changes if anybody thinks that something else is more important. We should get that done right away.
I think they're all important. Whereas you said the first three were like half a page, that we try to include the safe child policy in the May meeting.
Okay, yeah, I mean, so May, so you want to do the first four in May? Is that, if everybody's okay with
Well,
that?
you haven't written the policy. That's the problem.
Yeah,
right?
those first four, I have drafts already.
Okay, all right. You do have the draft of safe
Yeah.
child.
I
Okay.
already have a draft for you to look at.
I think that sounds good, but could I address the animals in the library policy just briefly?
Sure.
I know in the past that we had a policy. I don't know what happened to it. It doesn't really matter. But I know the reason we drafted and approved a policy previously was because of a patron bringing in an animal that was not a service animal to the library, and another patron complaining and involving the Board of Health, et cetera, et cetera. And I would just request that we use caution about allowing animals in the library. I've seen some postings on Facebook recently, and it's not a personal preference myself, but if some people are allowed to bring animals in, other people might think it's all right for them to too. So maybe think about, as an interim, what should be done, if you should allow non-service animals in the library other than for programs at this point. I think it might be smarter not to.
Yeah, I would agree with Linda, plus I'm allergic to dogs and cats, but I totally understand and accept a service animal.
Yeah.
And if it is done like in a private area, possibly of the library, don't post it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think I know what you're talking about. So those, I
Okay.
mean, that I mean, it's when the library's closed. You know, we wouldn't do that if there were people in here, and I consider that kind of more like a program. It's like part of our like promotion. And it's not just like wandering around, like somebody coming in when patrons are here, things like that. So, yeah, I kind of think of that as a different.
Well, to
Is
me,
that a therapy dog? Is that
No,
what-
I mean, that would be
okay, excuse me, do you want to go, Karen? I'd like to say, without a policy in place, I think it's better not to post public pictures. So
Oh, yes.
you
definitely.
can't answer if someone else wants to do it, and
Mhm.
try and explain why to a patron why it's all right what they saw and what they want isn't. It's too complicated, I think, for now without a policy in place myself to be posting them.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
Okay. All right, so any other changes or comments about?
I think it's a great list. You've obviously been, you know, really putting some thought into this, so it's much appreciated.
And obviously, I mean, no guarantee that we can stick to this. It's kind of, do our best to do
Well, I
that.
think it's a great start, and there's no reason we have to stick to it if we want to change it or you want to.
Right.
Right. Okay. All right. So that's all I had for that. We can move on to recap of meetings. Corinne,
Selectmen, the top subject is the override. Nothing on McQuon reuse and nothing on the PCH reuse. I'm hoping that after the election is over, come June, Karen, we can reach out to Greer about the McQuon reuse and
Yeah.
PCH reuse.
So I was gonna say, I heard through the grapevine that the selectmen told Parks and Rec that basically they unofficially had that field. That there was they weren't moving forward with anything. Is that correct?
I haven't heard anything from that.
That the selectmen are not moving forward with anything?
That basically the selectmen had turned over, I don't know if McQuon, but the McQuon fields to the Parks and Rec Commission.
I haven't heard a thing. No one has communicated to me at all.
Pepper meeting,
they
where
did
some Parks
get-
and Recs people said that they had been told that they would have control over the fields, and Pepper mentioned that the library was interested. So,
And did he say how that was responded to?
fine, they're just trying to run some programs on the fields for right now. They don't have any long-term plans. But I was curious to know if there was any official action that had, last I knew there was an RFP out for the area, and I thought that was still in process, but
That was my
Okay.
thought.
Yeah, Karen, could you maybe give a call to John
Yeah, and check.
and find out?
just
if that-
ask, yeah.
Do you think
And,
that one fields were turned over to Parks and Rec? Is that what? Okay.
yeah.
That's what I heard. Again,
Go
I think we should
on.
confirm it, but
Yeah, and then, with the impending budget cuts, should they, we get cuts, I mean, it's gonna be hard to ask for money for a new library.
Mm.
Not that we're giving up. We will eventually get a new library, but it may be longer than we planned. Of course, then costs go up. But, and of course, right now it's exorbitant, but maybe they'll level out again. You could just hope. Well, that's it for me.
On the McQuon reuse, the RFP, has anyone seen that to know how extensive the project will be, how much of the land and the lot will be taken, and how much will be left for a possible library expansion or rebuild?
They haven't shared anything. That's what you could ask about that, Karen.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing that's been set aside is $1 million to tear down the school. However, if they can get someone to, as I understood it from the meetings that I was going to and then listening to, is someone to build 55 plus homes with allowance for low income and build a senior center at no charge to the town. And that would include taking, well, the town has $1 million to take the building down. Who knows? Maybe whoever, if someone was interested in developing, would pay to have it torn down. And then you have the hazmat issue as well to be looked at. I'm not saying there's an issue, but they have to look check the ground and everything. So, I mean, with us, if we got that site, the state covers tearing down McQuan. Of course, then there's also, if that would be the case, that $1 million that's set aside. I would like to see if that could go to the library, but right now it's a sit and wait. Then if you could get some answers, Karen, we would appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll definitely check on that, all that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So we can move on to foundation updates. Linda, did you have anything?
Okay. As mentioned, we did have a couple very successful Chef Rob Scott presentations. And we have another one coming up Monday, May 3rd. And people have been registering, and the library's been very helpful with publicity. I have sent in articles to the Express, and Teresa's posted on the foundation Facebook page. So,
And actually, local cable did contact me about, and Rob directly about, they're going to try to air it again. So as have done other ones. So.
Oh, they were successful before. I don't watch the TV.
Yeah, I guess they said they did it before. So.
Oh, good. Okay, great. Who was the rep you talked to? Do you know offhand?
It was Heather. I can't remember her last name.
Oh, okay. So it's someone different than we used to work with. All right, thank you. And then I did email all foundation directors since our meeting had to be postponed due to other meetings in town where Karen was expected to attend, and some of our directors weren't able to attend the meeting either. So rather than wait till our next foundation meeting to take a vote, I emailed about seeking approval for book boxes for the 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten program. And I heard back from 11 out of the 12 foundation directors approving unanimously an expenditure of about up to $300 for the creation of early literacy kits by the staff, as requested by Karen. So I think that'll be a great offering. And,
Yeah, I'm already starting working on those. So.
okay, I think that'll be wonderful to be able to offer out. I think that's all on the foundation. I don't know if anyone has any questions.
I'm all set.
Okay.
So just a reminder, we have a next meeting is May 25th, 6:45 again. So are there any final comments, questions about anything?
I could mention that the next foundation meeting is May 11th,
Okay.
Tuesday, 6:45. People have been emailed and will be emailed again, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't send you a link for that, right? Yeah.
I will double check and let you know, Karen, okay?
I'm sorry, so it's May, the
May 11th,
May 11th.
Tuesday, Wednesday.
So May 11th for foundation, May 25th for trustee.
Mhm.
And that's all I had. So.
Okay, great. So
Can I
I'll
just
make-
ask one more question? My son is getting his first communion on Mondays, so I'm not going to be at the town meeting. But are other folks here going to be at town meeting in case there's any opportunity to support the library there in the override discussion?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll be there.
I'll save you a seat.
Sam will be there.
Yes.
Yes, yep, I'll be there too.
Okay. All right, so if there isn't anything else, I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:41 PM.
Second.
Second it. Linda,
Yes.
Diana,
Yes.
Pam,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
Green, aye. Unanimous. Have a good night, everybody.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Karen.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Karen.
Bye.
Great job.